The gang's all here.
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
I'm here.
I'm sorry, Donnie.
It's a sad time, Bobby.
Yeah, it's not good. It's been real hot.
Donna's going through some personal stuff right now.
Real hot.
So
It's a solemn occasion.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
episode 36.
Episode 36.
Episode 36.
Episode 36 was dedicated to Donna's deadbeat dad, who died.
Right.
No,
I don't
he
want
died.
you- I don't want
He's
you talking
dead.
about my dad anymore. It's
He was beaten to death. He's a deadbeat dad.
Eddie.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, I'm not in charge of semantics.
Oh,
I just,
listen.
we just got back from the funeral, Bobby.
I know. I know.
It rained.
I told him.
It was horrible.
It was.
That the coffin slipped out of their hands.
Do you really want to go down this path right now?
I really don't.
I mean, we should talk about it. He was a man who lived a life.
Let's talk about it
ignore
after.
him.
Let's talk about it after the intro and your atrocities.
Yeah.
Donna's just
Wait.
pissed off that I paid my respects to his dad. When I visited his coffin, I gave him an innocent kiss on the lips.
Jesus Christ.
Just
So
as to say goodbye.
We have a different idea of paying respect, and that is not one that you fucking do to my dad.
Well, Donna, I think
Okay?
it's really
Okay.
fucking weird for you to
All
be
right,
jealous
Teddy.
that your dad kissed me on at his funeral.
All you kept talking about was how hot his lips were.
I mean, not only is it not
His lips
cool,
were the woman's part of his body.
not only is it not cool to kiss the dead man on the lips, you opened the casket.
Who makes the rules, Bobby?
Jesus Christ.
And just because I opened a casket
You're
for
right.
a quick
You
little
was right.
innocent
It's
kiss,
the rules.
to
It was
save my
closed
Yeah.
for a reason.
All right. Listen, I don't want to get madder than I am already.
I don't either. So
It's a little
episode
late.
36.
Yeah, what about
we're
it?
going to be looking at Don and Nedra Paugh, the parents of Patsy Ramsey and the grandparents of JonBenet. And I think you guys are going to be really surprised at what we find out.
Oh, JonBenét's grandparent, Don Pablo, and Nedra.
Yeah, Patsy's parents.
Oh, Patsy.
And there's also been a week of news with John on a press tour and some new casting for the miniseries. So let's get it started. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I think I'm ready. Donna, are you, have you gotten over your father's untimely passing?
I mean, of course not.
All right, let's get started.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
thank you
She
for
just needs to
caring.
shut up.
All right. I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan this week.
And this is.
JonBenet today.
I told you, Donna, we should add snacks.
No, I know.
All right.
Next
All right, so
time.
it's actually been a pretty busy week in news for John Ramsey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's been out there. There's a new show called True Crime News.
True Crime knows. John Ramsey.
Very original. Apparently, they got the rights to the name for the podcast. So it used to be a podcast that they would always do.
Okay.
And they were going to do an actual TV show. And it's going to
Oh.
air in certain markets. And our market, it airs at like 2:30 in the
Like a
morning.
podcast that became then a TV show? True Crime News.
And they announced for their first episode that they were going to have on Mr. John Ramsey.
Oh, my God, what a get.
We're not asking you to clear us or apologize or be nice to us again. Just do the things that you should do that can be done. If you do that and we don't get an answer, we tried. We did everything we could do. So we've had unidentified male DNA from January 1997. And as one prosecutor told me, I've never, ever seen a police department try to explain away unidentified male DNA in a sexual assault case.
There are at least 7 items which are considered critical evidence that have never been tested.
To our knowledge, that's correct. These items were sent originally in January 1997 to the lab for testing, were returned untested.
One of those items, the garrote used
Yeah.
to strangle JonBenet. If this is one of the weapons that was used to kill JonBenet, how do you not test it for DNA? This is the part I don't get. It is covered with evidence.
I don't know why they didn't test it in the beginning, and to my knowledge, it still hasn't been tested. If they're testing it and just not telling me, that's great, but I have no reason to believe that.
So that was the 1-minute little preview they put out before the episode aired.
That is hard-hitting journalism.
It's not. That's pretty much it. There's a whole 30-minute thing you can watch that I watched, and I hated it. I hated myself for watching it.
She was an amazing journalist.
No, but he did actually have a really, finally, a John interview where he had, new information that, he brought out.
yeah.
And so we're going to play that clip. I'm just fucking kidding. There wasn't anything like that.
Bobby, you got me.
Oh, he got me.
I was
Shit.
waiting.
Shit. It was the same, exact shit they always do. Even, I was quoting
This is
it.
why I love you, Bobby. I'm so sorry.
I even got to the point where I was quoting it with him when she asked him, so what do you think happened? He goes, well, there were 2 big detectives on this case.
Oh, course.
John Douglas.
The same old,
He's got
right?
FBI profile. Lou
Blah,
Smith,
blah, blah.
who solved over hundreds of homicides. Like, it was the same shit. where it's
Someone's jealous of you.
like, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like some dude jealous
Fuck
of you.
that
or-
fucking asshole.
And I don't.
Right.
I've never done anything to. I can't imagine anybody being mad at me. Yeah, it was that same old shit. And
Jesus.
so for their inaugural episode, which again, look it up. Some markets it might air.
Yeah.
You get the prime time, but
It's
we
like
got 2:30.
audiovisual toilet paper being pooped on.
But yeah, so he was their first inaugural episode. Did the same old shit, and basically that whole thing, what they're saying with the growth thing is like he actually doesn't know. They're just going like, I don't know if they're testing it. They could be.
He's just letting
But
her.
they should be.
He's letting her be so indignant and outraged as almost someone's supposed to be like an authority, like credibility figure, being a journalist, supposed to be impartial. But it's like, so when they show emotion like that, it's like, oh, it's so outrageous. It gives the audience permission to feel like this is such an outrageous thing that even this journalist like can't even contain herself. When really she looks like some sort of fucking like, I don't know, Bang Brothers back of the van bus
Jesus.
version of a substitute teacher with a fucking mom stuck in
former
people-
bank.
people
goddamn
threatened
fucking
by a
Guadalupe,
highway
fucking
woman.
Mexico.
Yeah, she holds that
Anyway.
paper the whole time and basically just says the same thing over and over. It's like, I can't believe, why wouldn't they test
Yeah.
it? He's like, yeah. I don't know if they have.
It's
like-
amazing the roles paper it plays in this in this play.
Paper.
And so but then going forward with that, John then he was doing the whole thing in the news where it's like, no, they're not doing anything or
Yeah.
whatever, communicating with anything.
Ah.
Then September 11th, solemn day.
Oh, September 11th. Never forget, Bobby.
Never forget.
Never forget, Donna.
I didn't forget.
Never.
I don't never forget. I always remember to forget. And then not forget. No, not forget.
You remember not?
No,
I remember to
Never
never
forget.
forget.
I can see how you could.
I don't
confuse.
forget ever about anything.
Well, the news had came out that earlier in that week,
Yeah.
the Boulder Police chose an actual police chief. It's been interim chief Stephen Redfern.
They
for
chose him.
the whole time. He was the guy.
Redfern.
He was the guy that actually responded to us on Reddit.
Yeah.
what he was doing with
We
the case.
picked the Boulder Police Chief.
Well, I didn't say that he had become the chief yet. I
He
was saying-
survived the final
I didn't say
process.
that he was the guy yet.
No, but it was
But so he ended
hard.
up becoming the chief.
Good for him.
Yeah, so that was
Redfern,
nice.
Chief Redfern.
But then Fox News interviewed John about it, and John's immediately like, I love that guy. He's a great guy. I'm so glad they picked him. I'm actually really optimistic going forward about this case.
What?
And it's like, this is the same guy who months ago had to issue a statement when John was doing the crime con thing where he's like, the police are waiting for me to die. Who had to issue the statement going, we talk to John all the time. This has never came up. We don't know where this is coming from. This is the same guy that now John's
Crazy.
like, he is the chief. He's like, oh, we love him.
We love him. He's amazing.
shit.
Oh gosh, please, schedule an interview, an appointment time with us again. Oh, please, Daddy, sit on my back.
And then also with the heels of that true crime news too thing,
Yeah.
they did post a link on their website when it came out for the change.org petition where you could go now sign, which is now upped their goal to 50,000.
They adjusted
They
the
adjusted
change.
it. They adjusted it.
petitions. The one that we focused on earlier in our series, our in-depth encyclopedia of
It was created by the CrimeCon founder. Basically, it seemed like to get John in there, whatever. But they're shilling for Othram, this DNA lab, where it's basically like, hey, we want to get the DNA in the hands of Othram. It's very weird.
Yep.
But yeah, that petition's back. And again, they didn't push it at this year's CrimeCon.
They did not, because
I'm
we were
very
looking to see if they were
confused.
going to pass the 30,000 threshold or whatever.
Yeah,
for
and
the
they
first time.
very easily could have if they would have pushed it, but they didn't.
But they didn't.
And for some reason now they're,
At
I think the
50,000.
news people were just like, do you got anything we can send the viewers to? Or
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like-
and just like refresh it,
we haven't updated this website since you guys sent the DNA for testing.
I mean,
Right,
Back
they don't
in-
give a fuck.
last
Like,
year.
But it's also interesting to see that even when these things seem very quiet, or they're not touched, or whether it's the GoFundMe of Lou Schmidt's granddaughters or whatever, which is like $60,000,
Right.
Or when it's something like this, where it's like this petition's been around for years. I keep wanting to say decades, but for years.
It's just a facade.
And it's like,
It
even when
always
there's no
is.
activity on it for 6
Right.
months or a year,
They just want to have
they
something
still,
to reference.
Well, they'll bring up an old thing that's already been debunked, like the girl
They
that
update
was
it.
like a few months from JonBenét's murder. There was a girl who was like taken in her house. He brought that back up in her interview. Something that the police have already looked into, and like that shit's over. That's
Yeah.
not related to JonBenet at all. Same thing where he brought up Gary Olive recently again, and last year they were doing John Mark Carr again. He's just playing the hits.
He's
Right.
playing the hits, and it's clear, like, anybody that's serious about actually trying to clear the air and figure out the killer, the identity of the killer,
Right,
like,
they
they're
sure
not going
don't
to just
seem to
keep
be in a
repeating
hurry.
things like this that are seem like instead more to drum up publicity and money being diverted and attention being diverted their way, and also more like presumed innocence too.
Right. Well, hey, moving on. In some casting news, we have found our JonBenet.
Hi, my name is Emily Mitchell, and I'm 4 years old, and I'm 41 inches, and I live in Hamilton. Mama! Mama!
Hush, put your hair away.
I hurt. Mama! Mama! I hurt.
Emily Mitchell has been cast. She's also later this year going to be playing an uncredited Ivanka Trump in The Apprentice, the Donald Trump movie that'll be out this fall. So she's having a banner year. JonBenet and Ivanka Trump.
Whoa.
Has been cast.
She is an amazing actress. Is she better than Kathy Bates for the role? Well, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see.
I still think that she would be better casting. But
But,
wow.
So, yeah,
She's
we already
very
know,
similar.
We already know we had John as Clive Owen.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Melissa McCarthy as Patsy
love her.
Ramsey
Love
here.
her.
I can see how.
Excellent.
But we've also now got our Linda Arndt and Steve Thomas.
We got Linda Arndt
and Steve Thomas.
and Steve Thomas. Wow.
Edwin is Detective Steve Thomas.
Okay.
Allison Pill will be Crazy Eyes Linda Arndt.
Oh my fucking God. Allison Pill?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, by the way, I look at Allison Pill. It's like a thing where I feel like she probably auditioned for Patsy. And they gave Linda,
Yeah.
because like the age difference between John and Patsy is like 13 years.
Yep.
Clive Owen and Melissa McCarthy is like 4.
Patsy was like 39, 40 when JonBenet died.
I think there should have been a bigger
So
age
like
gap.
Allison Pill's much closer to her age. She but I can see the moon face kind of shape that both Melissa McCarthy and Patsy Ramsey's got.
It's like a large forehead, like a
They
five
got big
head.
cheekbones.
Yeah.
I can see how they would match up.
They look very close. Like I can see with her hair, teased, and just lighting and camera angles and those crazy eyes.
Yeah.
But they're gonna she's gonna probably
Melissa,
knock
she
it
can
out of the
channel that.
fucking park.
She's gonna channel
I'm
that.
optimistic.
Yeah.
So we also got our Jeff Shapiro from the Globe and our district attorney Alex Hunter.
Ooh, handsome
Owen
man.
Teague as Jeff Shapiro, which I think is pretty spot on fucking casting.
Wow.
They both have a weird, like that
He
creepy
looks so young though.
face.
I love this casting.
I do too. Shea Wiggum is fucking great. I don't know if he'll be able to do the voice though.
Owen Teague.
He's got because Shea Wiggum's got kind of like the strong voice. Like no matter what role, it's always that same exact voice. Like,
Oh, gruff.
and then we got our little casting. We got Reverend Hoverstock, who was present on the morning that JonBenet was murdered. Oh. And then Brian Markinson as Mr. Mike Bynum. who
Oh,
was
Mike Bynum.
the attorney that was the friend of the family that originally convinced John to lawyer up.
Yeah.
Oh wow. This is star-studded, and these look like character actors, and also very good representations. Allison Pill, I think that she's going to be amazing in those moments with like John Ramsey in the kitchen at one, like right.
Yes,
at 1
looking
PM
like
and what have you.
being across from each other.
Yeah.
When they set the body down and she's looking at him, and it's like, oh shit, this young, inexperienced detective is alone in this house, and
They're
It's gonna
investing
be
a lot in this.
tense.
and it's interesting because it's Allison Pill, and the thing is that means that they're going to have to be doing a lot of like, oh, what else was going on with Linda Arndt? That stuff we
Yes.
Oh,
we
yeah.
did not see or hear a lot of. So.
Oh my God, this is gonna be thrilling.
This is exciting.
I haven't been this excited for a movie since maybe Osmosis Jones.
Why were you
Oh, that
excited
was
for that?
Oh my God, Osmosis Jones! It was Chris Rock's
Teddy-
first animated feature.
Teddy loves
Barbie.
anything where it's like something going into the body. Like he liked
I
the
loved it.
Rugrats episode with the
yeah.
watermelon seed.
Oh my God, remember
Like
that?
Flubber.
Or the Magic School Bus.
Magic School Bus, thank you. Flubber,
Yes.
They didn't go inside somebody.
Well,
yeah,
you-
it
but
did.
you-
The flubber did.
The flubber like goes inside them and
Yeah.
controls their prostate, makes them come hands
Did
free.
we go inside the body?
The body.
Did we go
Like a
inside the
little
body? It was
slide.
like
Oh.
miniatures.
Oh, you know, I don't know. I remember when they had flubber at the Toys R Us.
Oh.
I would sometimes put it in
You
something.
would
I would
in your
eat it or
orifices.
suppository.
Like, that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, I thought it was funny when I farted it out.
Shoving it inside himself,
Yeah.
going, report back.
I said, I cracked an egg. Every time I do that.
Oh, no.
I got a stillborn.
Poor
chick.
hamsters.
Yeah, I mean, well, with the hamsters,
The flubber just kind of traps them.
they started calling me a united name, like passed down through the generations. When I kept getting more hamsters, it was apparent they were communicating with each other and talking about, me almost as like a god.
You didn't give them a knife, did you?
They called me,
That doesn't sound good.
and I would hear that all the time, and little chants like, and it was just fascinating.
It sounds like they're just taking their last dying breath in your
Right.
asshole.
Oh, maybe that's
maybe.
what.
While they all
really
make that
hap-
same death rattle.
Oh, God.
That's horrifying.
All right.
it's like squishing like a hard-boiled egg.
Oh, Teddy.
But it's got furrows on it.
Great.
And it moves.
Your
Okay.
imagination.
It's
Oh
got
my
bones
God.
too, so it's kind of like Strictly.
All right,
Was
well,
is that a word?
No.
Oh.
that's it for entertainment today. So, entertainment today.
Entertainment today. Yeah.
Okay, guys, settle in, because for our main story tonight, we're going to be talking about the Paughs.
The Paughs.
Don and Nedra, Patsy's parents. And I think by the end of this, you guys are going to be pretty surprised on what the, role in this case might actually be.
The pitter-patter of her parental paws past. Fascinating.
Yeah, Teddy's
Very
really
good.
good with that.
Very good.
Alliteration.
What a poet.
Yeah. Ever since I hit my head, never went to the doctor.
So if you aren't familiar with our radio play that we did on Patsy,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
episode 10, I believe, or something like that.
Some
We
9.
do give a
An
pretty good
oldie but a
oral
goodie.
history of her and her family and their journey from West Virginia.
He said oral history. What are you saying, Bobby? I'm like,
But so Don Paugh, okay, the patriarch of the family, he began his working life at the B&O Railroad as a relief telegraph operator.
oh, okay.
He ended up getting laid off through that and then passed through a series of menial jobs in dairies and marble quarries until he went off to West Virginia University.
He worked at marble quarries and dairy farms. Holy shit.
Oh, those are two very different things.
Yeah, those are. They're not the same things, Bobby. Admit it.
They're not, no.
Okay,
Definitely
at least I
not.
want to make sure we're on the same page.
Thank you.
It seems like, he's just trying to find himself,
Yeah.
Very much a Garden State kind of situation.
Oh, yeah.
Probably with worse music.
So
Yeah.
Zach Braff, it was like Skid Mark.
It was Skid Mark. You mean like Skid Row? Like what?
Like a shit stain.
He had been dating Nedra for 7 years, okay, and they eventually got married in 1955.
How long they date?
7 years.
Jesus Christ.
Don could not commit.
He was like, I'm not sure
like,
yet.
Or
Bye.
maybe she was making sure you got through school first.
Or maybe she was trying to make a baby in Chicago. And then she died.
That's true. Don earned his engineering degree the year Patsy was born.
Oh, wow. He engineered 2 amazing things in 1 year. A degree
And a left-handed cross-eyed girl. I don't think she's cross-eyed.
yeah, she
No.
wishes she was cross-eyed.
Why does she wish she was cross-eyed?
Yeah, who wishes that?
You can see things better when you're cross-eyed.
No, it's like you see double.
Big eye don't want you to know none of that.
Makes you dizzy.
They don't want you to be cross-eyed. That's why I choose to be cross-eyed.
You're cross-eyed.
Well, he ended up getting scooped up by the Army for the Corps of Engineers.
Oh.
And when he
like
ended
me.
active duty, he held the captain's rank.
He was a captain rank, Captain Phillips, Tom Hanks. He had Tom Hanks' rank. So when he fought against like Somali pirates in the Army Corps of Engineer, then like
So like captain of a ship?
he said, "Get off! This is my ship now." That's what he said.
No.
Like that was his job.
No.
All
right.
But once that ended, he ended up, as the Bonita papers put it, he drove up the Ohio River knocking on corporate doors until he found a job with the Bakelite Company.
Who the fuck is he? Tom, like Huckleberry Finn or something? Tom Sawyer?
Bakelite, is
He was
that-
I think
knocking
they were
on
being
doors up
more.
the-
I think they were more. Yeah. Oh yeah. Walking doors. I thought you were referencing the fucking going up the river.
I
was
know, I
I
thought
don't
he was
think
like in a
actually going
raft.
up the river.
I need a job. I need a job.
Get off the boat, dude. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
he was saying Nita, not Nedra. He pushed her off the boat.
Well, the job that he got at the Bakelite Company, they would eventually become Union Carbide, and then they all settled down there.
Oh, okay.
This is still in West Virginia.
In West Virginia.
Okay.
No. Have you ever been to West Virginia, Danya? Did you ever go on a car ride with your dead dad?
Well, yeah, I was asleep when we went through it. So
he was
like,
dead and he was driving?
No, like my dad, when he was alive, he was driving, and so I don't remember it, but I guess I did go through West Virginia.
You did go to West Virginia with him when he was alive.
When he was alive.
It's important to know the specific, like to really make sure you're talking with, the full array of like how to talk as an adult.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about unless you tell me specifically what it's about. If he was alive or dead.
Are you bullying her about her dead father?
No, I'm just. I
was reading for a second, and I tuned back in. I was like, "What the hell is happening over
We're
here?"
thinking about it that today, Bobby. It's a sentimental day.
Right.
Yeah, you're
And so where she has a memory of driving in West Virginia with her dad, but he was alive, not dead. He wasn't like a ghost
You don't have to
car.
keep
But
clarifying
like
that.
fucking West Virginia, like what?
I wanna make sure everybody's clear.
At no point in the story when she's recalling memories with her father will I think it's her and her dead father.
Am I being attacked?
No.
Are you attacking me?
I mean, he cannot stop thinking about those hot lips. Like,
Well,
Why do you saying hard?
they were hot. They were hot and hard.
hard.
It was like a concentration.
Yeah.
Like that was the last island.
Right, when people die,
Where
like,
of
you
the
get,
last-
like,
of
hot,
his last
you're
body
hardened.
heat.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he was hard in other places.
What?
Teddy, don't even go
I
there.
gave him a
I
hug
saw
when
you
I
put
gave him
your
a
hand
kiss.
under
Why
that,
would you give him a
and
hug?
He was a handsome man in life.
Oh my God, you
Good
didn't
God.
even meet him.
He
You don't even know the
He's
guy.
into the
This is
angels.
so inappropriate.
Well, you should have been kissing him first. He's your
Are you
father.
kidding me? He's dead.
Whatever.
Oh my
You weren't
God.
supposed to open the casket.
No.
I didn't come here to argue. I didn't come here to defend myself for opening the casket. It should have been open in the first place.
We should be.
should have been open.
Did you even take the flower arrangements off, or did you just open it up and go, whoops?
No, I just opened
It was
it.
an embarrassment.
Flowers begin on the ground. They can go back to the ground. I'm not worried about no flowers. I'm trying to make sure that
course
this man is
not.
appreciated.
No. Yeah.
He had a small funeral. There were
He's
only like
just
80
making
people
it
there,
about
Bob.
Ted.
80's a lot.
There was only 80. It
What do you
wasn't
mean it was only
100.
80?
There wasn't 100.
He just wanted
I'm
to
sorry, it
steal
would
the
make a
show.
difference if there were
Yeah.
100 or 80, or whether or not you open up the casket and kiss this dead man on the lips.
Well,
He
if it was
just trying
100,
to make a scene.
when
It
a
was
funeral
like,
has 100 people or more, they, by law, must serve a crudité. All right? They must serve finger sandwiches,
How
coffee,
does that
refreshments.
relate to you
What law?
kissing her dead father?
Because there was only 80 people there.
What does that have to do
Nothing.
with
And if there were more people at a deadbeat
See?
dad's
Oh my
funeral,
God.
Why is he
I
dead?
would have had a chance
Teddy just
to
wanted the
have a
spotlight.
snack like I needed, and maybe I would have thought more clearly.
I think it's a little bit of attention, a little bit of mental illness.
Yeah, okay.
It's a lot of bad.
About
And-
mental illness.
Like,
Right,
Teddy,
exactly.
like, I
It's about
just
mental
don't
illness.
understand.
And it's
Like,
mentally
you're just-
ill
it's- What?
that people do not.
No, you're
consider.
mentally
You are.
No.
Teddy,
Yes.
that was like crazy.
Hey.
Like, and you got off. Like, so like.
I
it's
did not
just-
get no off or
I'm like, are you gonna,
ejaculate
like, go
when
for
I
dead
took father's
bodies now?
coffin. I didn't get
Oh.
on the coffin none. It didn't go through my
I don't-
pants and spooch on the coffin.
Here we
It didn't
go.
spooch.
In
No.
detail.
Let me
Yes.
just. I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna not talk about your
No,
dad's funeral.
no, you're not gonna say this.
You can't stop
I don't
talking
wanna
about
hear-
it.
Nobody,
No.
nobody cares whether or not you came. All right.
No, that's
You
it.
shouldn't have done it,
No,
Teddy.
I
And I think
didn't
you need to understand
come.
that it was wrong.
It's AI, Bobby.
Guys, this was my dad.
Oh, God, here she goes again. Donna, he was like
Stop
all our
it,
dad.
Teddy.
There.
He
God
didn't
damn
care
it.
about you as much as you
You're
think.
such a dick.
Or you just pat her on the head. Or?
No, don't touch me.
Come here.
Sorry.
Come here. Come
No.
here. Come here.
There.
No.
Donna.
I can't believe you did that.
Do you need a tampon or something?
No.
I don't know what to do.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm not
That's
good with
all you
crying
need
women.
to say.
I'm really.
I didn't do anything wrong.
I'm uncomfortable. Everybody stop
I'm
fighting.
sorry you're feeling the way you are. Moving
That's
on.
fine. I
yes,
wasn't-
thank you. It's just acknowledgement. That's it. Thank you.
I don't know why you're mad
on
at
his
me.
You know, I
casket,
mean,
Bobby.
I didn't kiss your
Bobby,
dead
I
father.
didn't count.
I know
I didn't
you
come
did.
on his casket.
Here we go.
Whatever.
All right, I think everybody needs to settle.
Let's get to the fucking subject.
We're not-
I'm sick of this shit. I'm about to quit. I just
Oh,
loved that
here we
man like I
go.
was his son's daughter friend.
Great.
And
Great.
I wanted to pay my respects because no one else opened that casket. And I watched.
You weren't
Now
supposed to,
Teddy's
Teddy.
the victim again.
I watched
Here we
79
go.
people pay their respects and no one kissed him.
Because you weren't supposed to.
I sent
No.
him off to the angels.
When have you ever heard of that? That's
You've
not,
never met this man.
I met him on time at his funeral.
That's not meeting
That's
somebody.
not how you greet. Like, no. Are you? No.
Well,
Teddy.
it happened. You can't change it.
I would have
I know,
expected you
don't-
to. I would
and
expect you
I
to
don't
kiss the
remember
picture.
That. Like,
but-
oh my god.
I did kiss the picture, Bobby. That's how I practice.
Oh,
That's what it's there for.
Teddy.
Y'all don't know nothing about
No,
funerals.
like I mean,
you don't know
just
what the
thinking
rules of
about
funerals
you.
are.
Like,
You don't know what the
just,
rules
like,
of funerals are.
whatever.
Let's just go ahead and talk about the pies. These fucking nematodes.
Pause.
The
Hold on,
pause.
your
The pause. Yeah, the pause. Jesus
Yeah.
fucking
I forgot
Christ.
all about them. They're so forgettable.
So we had talked about in our Patsy Ramsey radio play when Patsy moved off to Atlanta to, she was living with some roommates and stuff. But the Paws actually decided to follow behind her, and they moved there too.
They did.
Yeah. Well, to Georgia basically. They were very close by.
Were they in a wagon? No. Like Little House on Mary?
It wasn't that long ago.
I was to say, yeah, we're already well past. Patsy was in college. We're like in the 70s, 80s now.
The 1970s.
Well, late 70s.
Wait, when was wagons? It wasn't no 1970?
When was
Oh,
wagon?
that was
When
like
was it?
pioneers. What the fuck?
When was wagon?
Yeah. When was the
Did you ever see
wagon?
him in the museum? Or
They weren't then.
Come on.
Covered wagons were pretty done by
long
the
time
19th
ago.
century, buddy.
The Smithsonian's been
Before
destroying
cars.
wagons to
Before-
erase the proof of wagons and giants.
Jesus
You hear about
Wagons and
that?
giant- no.
They do that. They've been doing that since World War One.
I think actually no, it was like early 19th century. They were still using some. Streetcars were like 1908. What was that?
What are we talking about?
Wagon.
We're talking about the Paws, who also moved to Georgia and not by wagon. Okay?
All right, fine.
Right. There was no wagon.
I hate it here. I don't want to live
The
here.
paw.
Okay. So Patsy meets John. It was kismet, John's also an engineer, like a father.
Oh,
We know
yeah.
Patsy's a failed, pageant. She did the pageant circuit.
Yep.
Nedra,
She
as
tried.
we're gonna learn, really loved like pageants and stuff like that.
Yeah, she did.
God.
She's a little off the
Weird.
rocker.
Little pageant troll she was.
Yeah, well, because the thing of like, did she have her daughters compete against each other? Because it's like her sister Pam would also do the
She's
pageants.
creating
Yeah.
drama.
They both would
to
do.
set
Yeah.
control and set people off.
Patsy
Like,
and Pam. Bobby,
yeah.
play a clip.
Oh, so
We don't have a
catty.
clip for that.
Bobby, find a clip to play.
What
Don, stop
clip?
talking so we can
What
insert a
clip?
clip here of the radio play.
Oh, the radio play.
And the winner of Miss West Virginia 1977, Miss Patricia Ann Podge.
Oh, you like my lazy eye and my Down syndrome mom.
I got
You
hurt.
do. Oh, thank you.
All right, no, I'm sorry. Sorry, this isn't really like a speech thing.
Oh, me.
We got a rodeo coming in here at 7. That's the show. Thank you guys for coming. Drink Pepsi.
God, that was so good.
Yeah. So, shortly after they get married,
Yeah.
John, with his company Access Graphics, which
Access
we're
Graphics.
going to delve into in a special episode.
Oh.
But John and that company, they hired Don Paugh to be like the director of like human resources at first.
Don Paugh, not to be confused with the past restaurant chain Don Pablo's, which was kind of like a Tex-Mex.
Nobody was confusing that.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
From the Bonita papers as well. John eventually hired Don Paugh as vice president in charge of operations. When the company moved to Boulder, Paugh stayed in a Boulder apartment maintained by Access Graphics when it was necessary for him to be away from the family home in Roswell, Georgia. Paul relished the lifestyle afforded by Boulder and spent more time there than was actually necessary for company business. Because of his frequency in town, he became one of the primary babysitters for the Ramsey children. At one point, Nedra and Patsy's two sisters, Pam and Polly, were also put on the payrolls of Access Graphics. Nedra retired in 1993 because she disliked not only the town of Boulder, but the apartment provided by Access Graphics. In fact, she was not hesitant to tell anyone how much she disliked Boulder and everything about it. In spite of her attitude towards the town in which her daughter and son-in-law now lived, she continued to support the marriage. She once remarked, "As long as Mr. Ramsey brought in the money, we'll spend it." She remained a very strong influence in Patsy's life, either visiting here often in Boulder or through Patsy's many trips back to Georgia. So Nedra hated it, Don stayed on, and that kind of thing. But I thought it was interesting that it said that she retired in 1993 because there's a person that'll come up later. His name's Tom Carson.
Tom Carson.
Who worked there that Nedra did not like.
She hated him.
And according to the Candy Rose website, Tom Carson was the reason that Nedra was let go from Access Graphics.
Oh, really?
There's no specific reason stated why, but she absolutely hated him.
But
And we'll
she
touch
was
on that in the
terminated.
Access Graphics episode?
No, I was gonna talk about
Insubordination.
Tom Carson with Nedra later because it's like technically in the timeline. I mean.
Oh, okay.
But so when Nedra was when Patsy's being interviewed, the police relayed back to her that your mother seemed very adamant that it was possibly this Tom Carson guy who did this.
Oh, I remember him, Bobby.
Well, we haven't brought him up before.
Oh.
But Nedra basically said, they're like, do you know what, when they asked her, like, would you know what SBTC might stand for? And she goes, yeah, son of a bitch, Tom Carson.
Oh my God.
Oh, she was a pistol.
Oh,
So
wow.
she was pretty upset supposedly about being let go because of him.
Goodness.
And that was when she was working in the Georgia office.
She gives me Wesley Snipes energy.
I'm not seeing that, but
Like she could be a Blade. Like
I could see it in the way of just like hard to talk to.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
This entire
Yeah.
family could be Blades.
Very
We've said it
rigid.
before. We'll say it again. There's such Blade energy to this whole story that feels vampiric. You know, I'm a vampire.
What?
I'm just saying.
He's talking about vampires and
I keep
sucking.
getting psychic visions of Wesley Snipes. Is he in this miniseries? Does he play Nedra?
No.
No.
But it's definitely not going to be fucking Anne Margaret like it was in Perfect Murder, Perfect Town.
Oh yeah, no.
Which is ridiculous casting.
That's crazy that Anne Margaret was goddamn
Nedra.
Nedra.
I hope they cast more appropriately for this,
Yeah.
because she's a goblin.
Gosh, abroad.
Oh,
He
look
just
at
kinda
that
looks-
vest.
He kind of looks creepy.
She's got a
Him and
wig
John
on,
kind of have the
too.
same neck.
Yay. They're very much where they look like Stick Stickly with a wig on.
Yeah, kinda. Like with
Yeah.
the glasses, like the googly eyes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
especially in that photo with the
Yeah, like where the black is just
parallel
blacked out, so it does-
yeah.
yes, I
you can
see
see
it.
it's just like it looks like a popsicle stick
Yeah, I see
of
it,
white.
Teddy.
So there's a really great article by People that I'll link down here that's basically this person's encounter where they got in a little fender bender out in like the woods in Georgia. And the person offered like, hey, you can come back with me. And then like the lady's like, you know who my granddaughter is? And it was like, it's JonBenet. And it was Nedra. And it was like a thing where she showed her, and they describe it as one room in the large brick home of Patsy's parents, Don and Nedra Paugh. In the Atlanta suburb of Roswell is a shrine to beauty pageants, filled with pictures and articles and with trophies and crowns won by Patsy and Pam. Nedra seemed obsessed by pageants. Only a few minutes into a homicide interview, and she wouldn't stop talking about beauty contests. She told us that JonBenet had started on the runways at the age of 4 for exactly the same reason children began training for the Olympics at an early age. If you don't start them young, she said, they'll fall miserably behind.
She's absolutely correct.
Jesus.
It's what you. It's the price you have to pay. They're not going to be a normal person when you got them so driven and focused, hyperfixated, and pushed to do something.
But it's just interesting that that's her kind of viewpoint of, you know, just, I don't know. It's very interesting. But
Bobby, got a quick question about this.
yeah.
Popsicle. Does it mean pop like father? Like
Why are you doing this to
no,
her?
I was just curious.
Why are you doing this?
When I
He's
thought of it,
breaking
because
down
it was
the
a
wood.
joke.
He's
'cause
breaking down the wood.
He looks like what's his name? Donald Paugh. He looks like
No, popsicle has nothing to do with
Don
fathers.
Paul.
he looks like a popsicle stick,
He does kind of look like a popsicle.
and like
Yeah.
that is a popsicle.
And apparently he was like a glad hander and very, like he would go out to drinks with people at Access Graphics.
Oh yeah, we like to have a good time.
But so
like
after
disco
the whole
music.
and what we get a little insight into like Nedra's personality in a letter that she wrote to an author that was doing a book that I'm going to insert right here. And she writes, "It was wonderful when we lived in Boulder. You could hear the college band playing from Patsy's upstairs room. I love the atmosphere. Patsy and John were beginning to like Boulder. None of the traffic and concrete that there is in Atlanta. They could run out and do an errand in 10 minutes. In Atlanta, it takes half a day." This is a very interesting highlight here that it's gotten a lot of controversy. Patsy was growing anxious about High Peaks, the school JonBenet and Burke were going to. There were children in some classes who would never be self-sufficient, physically handicapped, but they were being mainstreamed into the classroom. They have a right to be educated, but there were these other intelligent little boys and girls who were growing up to make a living, pay taxes, and they were sitting and waiting. The teacher told me her first obligation was to those handicapped children. And you just wonder how much time in the course of a day is spent on children who need to be learning so that they can take their place in society. I know the teacher wanted to do more, but there was only one of her and an aide.
Wow, she's a high caliber
Obsessed.
bitch.
Good God.
She's a fucking cunt.
Yeah.
That's the
she's got
meanest fucking thing I never ever
my
heard from nobody
God.
by somebody say.
And it's also just a weird, it's like the other Patsy thing. Like you could tell she got that from her mom. Of
Yeah.
like, let me go on this weird tangent here. of-
Holy shit.
And another thing that was bothering me, like,
Some sort of fanciful diatribe that honestly is
Put the soapbox
Incriminating.
away.
it's
Good
incriminating
God.
and it's the scariest thing I've ever heard.
it's like a Trump thing where they can't control it. Where
You
they're just
know-
like word
Oh, no.
vomiting it.
The
where-
next letter would be her saying gas them. like that's how fucking dark and mean that and shit that was.
Yeah, you're not.
Jesus.
I mean, I get
She
it.
is a fucking troll under a bridge.
And she also had very interesting thoughts on child rearing too.
Oh yeah.
It was reported that there's 3 books in the house that they were given to them by the Paughs. The first one being The Hurried Child, Growing Up Too Fast by David Elkind. The other one is Children at Risk by this guy Dobson. His name's James Dobson, and another person, Brewer. And finally, Why Johnny Can't Tell Right from Wrong. It's interesting also, the Children at Risk one, written by this James Dobson guy. He's a little problematic. In his book, The Strong-Willed Child, he describes whipping his pet dachshund into submission.
Oh my God.
A few paragraphs later, the conservative Christian psychologist recommends that you use corporal punishment on your son or daughter. Do it, he says, for the sake of the child's eternal salvation.
Oh my fucking God.
So these are the kind of child-rearing tactics.
Oh my.
that the,
3 books, and those are the 3, and that's what they deal with. And
God.
the pause. I mean, I got almost paused.
And,
for a
yeah.
moment.
Right.
Like, give me a second. That's really hard because I know that also, like, Donna's father was horrible to her.
Oh my God.
Daddy.
And it's
Not
like
again.
tantamount to corporal punishment.
This is terrible.
No, this is punishment. Stop.
Donna,
sorry.
I'm helping you process your emotions so it
No.
don't take you so fucking
Don't-
long.
no.
Healing from the death of your dad.
Please don't remind me.
Anyhow, so Nedra and Don and what was Patsy's sister's name again?
Pam?
Pam. The Paughs.
And then there's also Paulette.
Pam Paugh.
Oh, yeah,
Paulette.
Paulette.
But she wasn't a pageant.
Paulette.
She didn't go that route. She, didn't
She
like
was
that
the black
side.
sheep.
Yeah, and also, by the way, Nedra was also the source of the information in regards to JonBenet's like regression in her bathroom problems. She admitted to basically like detectives that even at 6 years old, JonBenet still had problems where she couldn't wipe herself, and she would frequently call out to basically anybody. At this point, it didn't matter which adults, which led to them eventually just ignoring it, which would sometimes lead to her soiling herself even more.
A little stinky butt.
Little stinky butt. So sad. Such a stinky, such a sad house.
And that's, well, it's just the thing where she was regressing. This is when her mom was like had cancer, you know?
Oh.
And so it was a thing of,
She
you
was
know,
turned back to
now
a baby.
Nedra's going to be there all the time, taking care of Patsy, not
God.
watching the kids.
His opinions.
I don't think there's anything worse than Nedra babysitting these kids. You know?
Those poor kids. Good God.
God.
And then it's also quoted from from Linda Hoffman Pugh, who talked with Nedra all the time because she saw her. She's one of the housekeepers. Patsy's mother, Nedra, related that the family would often wake her up shortly after she's sent to sleep to take her to the bathroom in hopes of preventing middle-of-the-night accidents. Until recently, JonBenet wore pull-up diapers, but Patsy quit using them because she thought the absorbent material would prevent her from feeling the wetness and waking up. Now, when she had a bedwetting incident during the night, JonBenet would usually get up and change her own clothes. Sometimes she would go into her brother's room and crawl into the extra bed to avoid going back to her own cold, wet one. Plastic sheets were always kept on JonBenet's bed, and the housekeeper said that the only housekeeping chore Patsy did was changing JonBenet's bed.
That's so sad. That poor little girl.
So,
See, her dad didn't care about her, and look what happened to her. And that's what I worry about with Donna. That's why I'm so close
well,
to
there
her.
are also these people that are like watching them too, and it's like the child rearing tactics, and like we don't know like how they're trying to deal with this.
Tell me about it. I got one at my home.
Because when asked about like when they watched it, John seems to distance himself when he's interviewed. Like if the kids stayed over there, they're like, well, yeah, sometimes they would stay at Don's apartment in Boulder, but just for like a few hours. And then later in that same interview, it was like, well, yeah, they would stay over there overnight sometimes too. But it's like, why even
Why would they stay at Don's
a few
apartment?
hours?
Right.
Well, because it's in Boulder. I mean, it's close.
Oh, for the drive. Okay.
Where it's something if they were going to be out of town or something like that. Yeah, it's weird. Why would they go to the house? I don't know.
Okay.
But maybe it's just dropping them off over there so they could, you know.
And have some alone time.
Yeah, not with
Like
each other.
just visiting grandpa's
Not with each other.
house?
It's probably like John, like, hey, Patsy's in Maryland getting these treatments.
Oh, yeah.
Can you watch these little shits real quick?
I got 3
I'm
black
showing a new
strippers coming
girlfriend
over
the house.
tonight.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. He just loves jerking off to Frasier.
So then we move on to the month of December, leading up to her murder.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, the month of December. What are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about that John Ramsey, he may or may not like jerking off to Frasier.
Oh, yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Absolutely. Thank you for covering our
Allegedly.
bases. We got a lawyer now.
Yeah.
LegalZoom.com.
Yeah. He's from Georgia.
He sounds like Lin Wood. He's like, no.
He sounds like Lin Wood.
This is Din Food. And then he started speaking in a really racist Chinese accent.
Yeah. He's gonna do it
I
pro
represent you
bono.
well.
Oh, Bobby, that was unfortunate. All right.
We're just spitballing.
let's get back to the subject at hand.
So, We know that around December 7th that the Ramseys were out of town. Basically the kids were staying, both JonBenet and Burke, with Don and Nedra, or just Don. It's unclear. She was actually there.
On what night?
This is on the 7th of December.
The 7th of December,
1996.
Which was the anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
And there's some controversy around this date because there's two different interviews where it states that it was either the 7th or the 17th in which Dr. Beef was called frantically 3 times.
Wait a minute, Bobby. Pause. For the pause.
JonBenét's pediatrician. What's up?
Pause for the pause cause. Dr. Beef was called 3 times. Frantic calls all one night.
Yes.
On either December 17th or December 7th.
Which would have been in the care of
Don and Nedra, or just someone, Don.
Unclear.
At the Paugh apartment.
And they when asked about it, like Patsy doesn't, when she's originally asked, and they said the 17th, she's like, no, I don't remember this at all. She doesn't know what that would be about. Which is really weird to not remember
I think you
why
would
you
remember calling.
It would be less
especially
than 2 weeks before.
The last time the pediatrician, and why you like emergency calling, what's going on there. She didn't remember it. Or it could have been because they misspoke, because then in Tom Haney's interview with John Ramsey, they say the 7th. Either way, there's no recollection of why this would have.
But even then, wouldn't she still know of something that happened on the 7th that she could then be like, no, it wasn't the 17th, it was the 7th.
No, her or Dr. Beef, they say they don't know.
We're like, SBTC, Southern Bell Telephone Company.
That son of a bitch, Tom Carson.
Bobby, you're so good at that.
I hate you.
I don't know how you do that. He thinks about the app. He remembers things.
So then we get to the Christmas party. Okay, December 23rd, which is just it's a fantastic little story that we're also going to delve into in a future episode.
A Christmas party story.
The Christmas party. It's the one where basically Bill McReynolds was at, and JonBenet has been seen at, where she was seen, sullen on the steps by one of the neighbors, and she looked like she'd been crying, and like one of the neighbors asked like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "I don't feel pretty enough."
Oh, yes, that episode we do on the
baby.
Christmas party story is gonna be so Gosford Park and fucking
Picture
little teaser
perfect.
for it.
Altman.
The only reason that party even happened, by the way, you guys, is because I found out that Bill McReynolds was being followed by this BBC documentary crew who were like filming like a Santa in America type thing. And so he called up Patsy last minute. She wasn't even going to do a party. Like they had no party planned. So he calls Patsy last minute and he's like, hey, this crew's following me. They want to do a documentary here. Like, dude, you want to do this? She's like, yeah. So she's like, gets the house ready, does all this stuff. They film with him for like all a week. They're so sick of him, like of this Bill McReynolds guy being with him, that by the time it gets to Patsy's day, they're like, we got enough footage. We're good.
Oh,
You're fucking kidding me.
So the crew doesn't even fucking come. Just Bill.
They quit the
She threw the party for everything.
Oh my
She's
God.
like, where the
And
fuck are
also
the
these
cameras,
idiot
Bill?
journalists
Oh, hey,
who
Bill.
missed out on having like this footage.
Oh my God.
Possibly, or it's like maybe she wouldn't have died. Like maybe something started here. Because at this party is the same party where Fleet White accidentally dials 911.
Oh my.
This is the one where it's around 6:48 in the evening.
Holy shit.
Wow.
And we know Don Paugh's here. There's some neighbors there. Nedra's not there. She's in Atlanta.
So that's
And there's some sort of argument.
Interesting.
There's something I'm assuming, okay? But what they officially state to the police, Susan Stein states to the police, 'cause she's the one that answers the door when the cop shows up. Because what happens is they hang up when they 911 answers.
Susan Stein, the one that was reading them forums on AOL after
that they stayed
stuff
with.
happened.
Yep. But what happened was that basically when the first 911 call happened, the caller hung up when the operator picked up. So they did a call back and it went right to the Ramsey's answer machine. So then within 6 minutes, they actually have an officer out there who knocks on the door, basically talks to Susan Stein, who says that Fleet White was basically like ordering medications for his mother who's in the hospital or something, and he accidentally dialed the wrong number. But Fleet has never publicly said anything about this story. Like he's never been the one that said that. Like that was from Susan Stein, and John also repeated that later.
John Ramsey.
And also the cop was there for like 15 minutes, but it was like an all clear. So it was interesting to see like what was going on there. Because that
What a
contentious
crazy-
party where it's like, what's going on? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, she threw this whole thing for that. There's like a lot of kids there. JonBenet saying she's not feeling pretty.
See, when I picture this Christmas party, Bobby, I picture it in one continuous like take of a shot from a movie, like Paul Thomas Anderson, and with like Boogie
Like a Birdman.
Nights, Birdman, all of them kind of movies, and I love that.
I do too.
It's exciting. It's gonna be interesting. It's like a game of Clue.
So and it is, because this is where I want you to try to connect the dots here. This is where it seems kind of murky. Right after this party on the 23rd, Don Paugh catches a standby flight out on Christmas Eve to Atlanta. He goes back to Atlanta.
Don Paugh.
Which he was not known to do. It's known in the company that whenever John was going to be leaving town, as he was the next day, that Don would stay and hold down the fort. But Don curiously catches a standby flight on Christmas Eve, which is like weird and seems impossible to do. And then it's like John has jets, so it's like I don't know why this isn't offered up, but they very much say like he took a standby flight. Like my pilots don't know shit. There was some sort of point of contention there with something.
He got pissed off about something.
Maybe him and Fleet got into something about something because that's gonna come back later.
Don't spoil it all, Bobby.
I'm not.
Oh my God, I'm excited. I'm titillated. I'm titillated.
When John's interviewed about how his dad got to the airport, he was like, I think he probably took like a limo or something, or the car or something. He doesn't like driving that much.
No, he don't like that. No,
But it's interesting that he's like limo. But yeah, so standby flight curiously gets out of town, which Nedra would later say that it was like, she'd say it's a good thing that he got that because otherwise he probably would have been accused. Like for JonBenét's.
Nedra with the fucking mouth, I swear.
And
she
so,
said that.
Yeah, and it's not really fully confirmed about like all these like flights thing. The police or the cops were looking into him as of like January 9th after the murder because they went to Access Graphics and talked to some of the employees there.
I mean, even all the way back with John's father, there's an interesting history of aviation and the roles of planes in the defining events of these generations of these people. It's weird.
And then we get to New Year's, okay? JonBenét's dead now, right?
Yeah.
They did the memorial service back in Boulder where basically, the whites were like trying to convince him like, hey, it's like you shouldn't, like you gotta talk to the police and stuff like that. But then we go to January 1st where they're gonna do like her funeral and stuff in Atlanta. They're getting ready for that stuff. Yeah. Some sort of incident happens where Fleet is actively looking for John and he goes to Jeff Ramsey, which was John's brother's house. However he was coming off, Jeff felt the need to call Don and Nedra because that's where the Ramseys were to warn them like, hey, Fleet's coming.
Like he seems mad.
And
Okay.
Don decides to start getting guns out.
Oh my God.
Don reportedly starts putting guns under the cushions of the sofas and the couch.
Oh my God.
Bobby.
Expecting some sort of explosive confrontation.
He's putting guns under the couches like it's some fucking Medellin traffic situation.
And they're trying to downplay it like later. Like later it's downplayed where they're saying like, oh, it wasn't that big of a
But you
deal.
thought someone might die and like,
Right.
you had
And it's like
what?
also what was he
Guns
really
in the-
mad about?
Guns under beds now.
But like Fleet, this is the whole moment where Fleet reportedly tells him, "Is like this is like what you do in the next 24 hours is like really important." And then it's like that's when they go on CNN though too.
Oh, that they went on New Year's Day.
After things got calmed down at the house, it's like so that's like things ended up being okay. They got calmed down. Fleet's wife Priscilla even helps Patsy do her makeup for that interview.
Oh wow.
Also, it's like God, she's all benzoed out too.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And
that.
Dr. Beef's making the house calls. He's over. They bring their whole.
He was the pediatrician of Patsy's kids, but he was giving them Patsy medications all the time.
But it's also it's like so that New Year's was really like the last time that Don had any interaction since the Christmas party with Fleet White. And so it's interesting of why he would be like so prepared for him to come over. Where it's like, was there some sort of interaction with him? Because Don and Nedra, even after they find out JonBenét's dead, and they have to stay, and the Rangers have to stay in Boulder for a little bit, they don't ever come back.
They
Like
stayed in Atlanta.
they don't, they don't go back to the house.
Oh, to the house.
Like in that time period. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
because like
But
you're talking
everybody
about,
else did.
She never went to the they never went to the house after JonBenet died.
Right, but they
Like-
also, but I mean, he goes back to Boulder. I don't believe Nedra ever actually does. But so that's the thing is like now it's like the last time he saw Fleet was that, and it's like, was there some sort of tension that was building so much that it's like he felt he needed to actually have armed himself.
That's crazy.
And
It's like, Demolition
was-
Man.
Why
thing.
was
Something was
911
afoot.
called? Like, what was going on
Right.
there? Did they work out
Something was
something?
going on.
And then Don decides to leave right after the Christmas party. Some sort of explosive thing. He's not taking John's PJ, but even though they work for the same company, and Don would continue to work for Axis Graphics. I was looking at their old website, and he's listed through 1997 as being like a vice president of operations. And then right at the beginning of 1998, it's updated to show that he's gone. He's like, okay, I'm sure he just retired.
Jeez, Donna, these paws. I mean, the more you tell, the more you're telling us about.
As soon as you open the paw, man, it all comes out.
I like that. That was pretty good.
The point is that
They got
there's
dirty
so much
paws.
more to
They got dirty paws.
Oh, they got dirty paws.
paws.
That's what I'm talking about, Bobby.
Yeah, the dirty paws.
The
They got
dirty
blood
paws.
under
Shit, we
their
should have been saying that from the
claws.
beginning.
We should have. We wasn't thinking about it. But this is like, there's so much more. These are not just like cardboard cutout, background sitcom actors. Her parents, Patsy's parents, the Paughs, they played a role.
A pivotal role. In the radio
pivotal
play, we
role.
explored that,
Right.
not even in the radio play. In other episodes, we've talked about how you couldn't be friends with Patsy if you weren't friends with Nedra.
Yep.
She was basically like the whole
The dictator.
She's a headmistress.
Right.
And it's like, it's
Who's
just.
ableist.
Absolutely.
And like her dad, like he, just being part of that Access Graphics.
He's quiet.
culture.
He's the only one to never speak to the press about the case, speak about the case.
So weird. I feel there's something more there.
I mean, he might be a worse father than yours, daughter. I mean, honestly, so think about
Teddy.
that. Your dad wasn't that horrible.
What?
Oh my God.
Stop reminding me.
It's all right. You'll get over it one day. What she'll
God
do is
damn
she
it,
can listen to this
Teddy.
episode back.
I just
No.
have like the worst
she can-
memories now. Like
I think her having to live with you is punishment enough.
I just don't talk about it.
Hey, let's get some crab rangoons. Are we almost done, Bobby?
Yeah, we're almost done. Yeah.
Okay.
I do want
Just got to
some
get to
duck
our
sauce.
cliffhanger.
Duck sauce. I love duck
Yeah,
sauce.
duck sauce.
We're gonna get
He's
some
gonna
crab
make you pay for it.
rangoons. She's gonna pay for it.
I
She's
want
Buy
fine.
your own
comfort
crab.
food.
Take him
I'm
there.
sad.
Take him there. Buy it yourself, and then don't give him any.
Her father had life insurance. It was like $700.
Oh no,
Look at
$700.
It was a lot of money.
We don't know.
That's
there might
not-
be more.
There might be more, Bobby.
might
Well,
be
don't let
more.
Teddy anywhere
Don't
near
come to
it.
conclusions.
I mean, I'm not going to.
But can we come to conclusions?
Yeah. So to wrap this thing up, we get to 2001, and our beautiful Nedra passes away.
Oh, Nedra. Trowbridge of the plantation dies a stupid death. Just like your dad, Donna.
Jesus.
That was the last one. That was it.
you,
That was
Daddy.
it. I promise.
Fuck
It won't be
you.
more than that.
Oh my god.
But his death was dumb. Some people die stupider than others.
Well, hers was like diabetes and just a bunch of complications. And what's really curious is that the only obituary that's available for her, there's no mention of Don.
Her husband.
Yeah, there's no mention of her husband.
What?
In her obituary, like at all.
Wow.
Which is really curious because then it's like, well, did he do something? Is there something going on there? And
Right.
so then it's like he was babysitting these kids too. We go to then Patsy's 1998 interview with the cops. When Patsy's told in an interview that JonBenet showed signs of prior sexual abuse is when the interview takes a turn. She becomes very surprised by this fact, and we know now that they were prepped previously before these interviews, so it makes sense of why she was surprised by it, and demands to see the reports that show that. When they ask Patsy if she was ever physically abused as a child, she becomes almost childlike and retreats into herself and gets very quiet and says no. When they ask her if her sisters were ever abused, she says, I don't know.
What the
fuck? And it was just
It
fascinating.
sounds like they're just taking their last dying breath in your
Right.
asshole.
Oh.